Well, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. We've seen Danielle Smith be under everybody's microscope lately, especially since I've often come out and said she's the only premier realistically that's trying to find diplomacy between Canada and the US right now with the ongoing threat looming of tariffs. She's not focused on Team Canada because, well, it's Team Liberal at this point, and she's taking a lot of criticism for it. She's taking a lot of hits from the federal parties, especially since she recently came out and warned everybody, if you watched our previous video, about how important this next federal election is going to be. In fact, stating this is the most important election of our lifetime. I couldn't agree more. In fact, I've often encouraged our viewers on multiple videos, now is the time to get your voter card ready, change your registration if you haven't, make sure it's up to date, get out and vote in this election. Even if you feel your vote means nothing, the only way we're going to get through this election, if it's too big to rig, that's not me telling you who to vote for, but we have often a very low voter turnout in this country. We need people out and voting, doing their due diligence. We need to see high numbers if we're going to get through this next election. That being said, one of the things Danielle talked about in that speech, and one of the things she warned whoever the next Canadian Prime Minister is going to be of, is that should they not want to help Alberta with its prosperity, with getting its product to market, with opening channels for it to move its oil and gas east, west, north, and south, there is going to be a divide. There is going to be a national unity crisis. What is she talking about? Well, if we see Mark Carney win the next election, ultimately it's going to spark a lot of talk in Alberta, not just about separation from Confederacy, but also people are going to be talking more and more, I believe, about 51st state. Danielle sees that writing on the wall. Well, now she's come under attack from Nahid Nenshi of the NDP party, and I can't stand this guy. He's an absolute hypocrite. Much like Mark Carney, he doesn't hold a seat. Yet he wants to dictate how things should be running, of course, as he wants to try and be the next premier of Alberta. While we have woke Edmonton and their NDP voters, keep in mind they're mostly union-controlled, standing behind Nahid Nenshi. He's going to get the Muslim vote. Again, that's another election that's going to be very crucial. People get out and vote. Here's his tweet that comes out. Danielle Smith's comments during her Breitbart interview are antithetical to democracy. At the moment when our nation is under attack and our sovereignty is under threat, she's put her need for attention above all Albertans and all Canadians. No, she's seeing the writing on the wall. Her need for attention? Give me a break. This is the same guy during the pandemic, keep in mind, that said anybody protesting was a white nationalist that didn't deserve to eat. This guy hasn't missed too many meals either. He says, I'm old enough to know just how fragile this beautiful nation is, and I'll be damned if I let a reckless, incompetent, and unethical premier undermine what we've built here together. Keep in mind, this guy wants to add a provincial carbon tax on top of the federal carbon tax. This guy wants to completely obliterate Alberta to his socialist friends, his globalists. Take a listen to the crap that comes out of his mouth here.
The Premier plays fast and loose with Canada. This goes beyond the Premier's usual incompetence. This is antithetical to democracy. In her own words, caught on tape, she urged government officials in a foreign country to take a certain action in order to influence the results of a Canadian election.
I'd love to know what he's saying in that regard. She did no such thing. She did no such thing. But his statement here really brings it home.
But at a moment when our nation is under attack.
It is not under attack. Secure the border. That's all that's been asked.
At a moment where the President of the United States says we're not a real country, where he threatens the sovereignty of our nation, Danielle Smith goes out in public wanting to be the center of attention, telling everybody, oh no, we want to cause a national unity crisis. I'm old enough to know just how fragile this beautiful nation that we built together. And I'm old enough to know that we built the most special country on earth here in Canada. And I'll be damned if I allow a careless, incompetent premier to play with that.
Does anybody in Alberta really want this jackass running the province? Is there anybody that actually believes this guy's good for Alberta? I don't see it. He absolutely destroyed Calgary. In fact, it's one of the reasons we're leaving Calgary. Probably at the time you're watching this video as we pack up and move to Spruce Grove. I shudder to think what'll happen if this man becomes premier of our province. Say goodbye to Alberta. First off, these defamatory statements that are made, I want to clarify. Danielle Smith did not come out saying we are going to demand or cause a national unity crisis. She's recognizing that the calls for concern, for Alberta separation, for Albertans that are fed up with having the federal government's boot on their neck are getting too large to ignore. She's not saying that she is going to be pushing for a unity crisis. It's the people of Alberta she's talking about that are fed up with woke elitists like Nenshi coming out saying, we're going to continue to tax you into poverty. This guy doesn't get it. He comes out saying this is all about attention, that we're under attack from the United States. No, we're not. Fix the border. Now that you've listened to Nenshi, listen to what Danielle says. It's time for the NDP to get a reality check. Look at her go in Parliament. Look at her fire back. Here's what Danielle has to say. You tell me which premier is better for Alberta after hearing this.
I don't know, Mr. Speaker. Are they for real? Do they really think that Justin Trudeau was the one out there advocating on behalf of the energy industry in the United States? The guy who imposed the No More Pipelines bill, the tanker ban, an emissions cap on oil, an emissions cap on methane, net zero power regs, net zero vehicles, net zero building construction? Mr. Speaker, those are all policies advanced by the NDP. Right. It's the Liberal NDP coalition that is damaging this province, damaging our industry, and I'm the one standing up for it.
She is the one standing up for it. And I, for one, could not be happier that Danielle is doing a fantastic job again as she continues to push back on Ottawa, to say that Alberta needs to be taken serious at the table. Again, hopefully we don't see Mark Carney come into power, but these are the reasons you need to get out and vote. When you see the behavioral differences between Nenshi and Danielle Smith, as I said, who do you think is better fit to lead a province? The question comes into play when you hear Pierre Poilievre versus Mark Carney. Who do you think is better fit to lead a country? Certainly, I don't believe it's Mark Carney. If you're watching this channel and you do, I don't know what you're doing here, but you're free to think that way. But that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down below. Do you think that Alberta deserves somebody like Nenshi to come in? Do you think Danielle's doing a bad job, or do you think she's doing a damn good job as I do? Let me know your thoughts down below in the description, or in the comment section, I should say. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you hit that subscribe button, you turn on your bell for all notifications. Again, leave a comment and a thumbs up down below. All that usual YouTube jazz helps the channel immensely, costs you nothing. Join me live here on the channel this Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, as we're doing our first live stream of our weekly show from our new home in Spruce Grove. It'll be in a different space than this. And I look forward to chatting with you alongside the very beautiful Mrs. Fringe as we talk about everything happening in politics this week, everything coming up in the week ahead, as well as back and forth within the greatest YouTube community on the platform. We both look forward to hearing what you have to say outside of making these videos, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say this Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.